Hi, I'm Peter Haddock and I'm here with Hjálmar from Istak, and basically you are one of the technology specialists for what is one of Iceland's biggest contractors, and we've been talking today about how you're managing projects across the whole of the country. This project is in the middle of nowhere, folks. We're building a new road, huge project for you, but you've also got projects in Reykjavik, which is a 6-hour drive away, and across the country. You've just adopted in April last year the MachineMax system here to monitor all of your fleet and all of the assets within the business. Tell me a little bit about the journey, because it's been one where you've really played an integral part, hasn't it?
Yeah. The main reason we got to MachineMax was because we have this several fleet systems, and to combine our fleet to one system, MachineMax was the winner in that. On a project like this, when you have long distances for the hauling of the material, we have to get the most of the trucks, as many trips per day as we can, and we have to see where they stop and where they're idling and how we get the less fuel cost in a project, because it makes a lot different when you're transporting like 18,000 trucks like this.
18,000 trucks, that's the amount of loads that you've got to deliver. Is it 500,000 cubic meters of material?
Yeah,
something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and so this project, every minute counts, really. So we talked about earlier when we were in the warmth, folks, about how you've used the MachineMax system to initially look at the fleet movements. And so with the trucks here, what you've recognised is you've actually taken them to a limited speed, because some of them were catching up with others and causing that idle time. That's a really important thing, isn't it, to see where your hotspots are?
Yeah. It's very important, and also to get the fuel down, not running them on high RPMs, and so you get the most out of each trip.
You're still travelling the same sort of distances, but also, folks, you're now saving fuel.
Yeah.
And the thing about this is it's also about the fleet matching, isn't it, as well? So you've got a large Caterpillar excavator brought in specifically for this job so that you could actually get those fill times really, really up, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And folks, what they're doing is they're literally down the road are using a wheel loader to load up material to actually, come onto the road as well. So they're combining, large wheel loaders with large cat excavators to make it as efficient as possible. But tell me a little bit about some of the data you've got now and how it has changed the way you're working and delivering for, customers like you see here.
What's the fleet in real time, and see as soon as something strange happens or something happens in the project. If some machine breakdowns, you can see it right away in the system, and in decrease of productivity. That's what matters, to have every asset up and running.
And when you look at that, you're looking at the immediacy of the alerts that you're getting through as well. And also, you're looking at it from a context of how can we manage the equipment effectively there. So you're talking to me about simple things like monitoring the hours used as well, which, goes to your maintenance schedules. That's changed as well, hasn't it?
Yeah. That's very handy, and you can see it in time when the maintenance is supposed to be done, and so you can make some schedules before time to order parts.
And that's really important when you've got schedules to meet on a project like this, folks. The downtime can then be managed effectively when the machines need to be in use or can be taken out of circulation. The other elements that we've looked at is monitoring the amount of trips that you're making. You've actually been able to program that into the system to alert you and count those amount of trips, haven't you? Yeah. How's that been done? Is it an easy process?
No, it has not been very easy until now. We have this tipping sensor now installed on the trucks. So when they tip, we get the count of the tipping over a day. And before that, we had this geofences. So the quarry was one geofence and the dump zone was another geofence. So we could monitor when they exit the quarry and count us as one trip.
So that again is looking at how the productivity is managed on the site here. And so from your perspective, you know, you've also shown me the MachineMax system on your phone that you can access. So, you know, we were driving up here, folks, 6-hour drive to get to the site, and you were able to literally pull over when you got a phone call from one of your colleagues, explain some of the stuff from the system to them, and therefore that was an immediate action that you can do on site. Yeah. That doesn't matter where you are, does it, when you've got that kind of information coming in?
No. Doesn't matter, and everyone can have this access to it. Product managers, head managers, the office people, everyone can look at it, and if they have interest in doing so.
The other thing that I'm really interested about, folks, as you know, is CO2 emissions. And here in Iceland, your customers are really interested in the CO2 and the environmental impact of these kind of projects, aren't they? Yeah. So it's really important that we understand the emissions coming out of the project and how you are managing them. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we are getting there to have this one system to look at this data from through API from a machine, so we see the liters per hour, and we can monitor in which project the fuel was spent.
Yep.
So we can make a report out of that.
And I think that's really interesting because you can really also monitor, like you said, machine to machine, and that performance as well. And obviously you're looking at constant training for your employees, and how adding training can also reduce those emissions and fuel usage. That's again the people piece, isn't it?
Yeah. To train operators and to have them on board, and probably in the future, maybe the operator on his truck will have his truck in his app, so he will see what he is doing.
Right, so each individual operator and a team can then see what they're achieving and obviously work together for the same goal.
Yeah.
So, folks, it is fantastic to be here in Iceland. Got to say, I didn't expect the winds to be so hard, but the conditions here are ripe for actually making a big difference when it comes to fuel economy. We're obviously importing all that fuel into the country. It's expensive to get right, isn't it? But when you're adopting technologies and when you're ahead of the game, that does make the whole difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's always fun to have new programs to play with.
Yep. New technologies and new things that change the way we're building here. Great to meet you, and thanks very much for driving us all the way out here to see this fantastic project, which in itself is going to reduce carbon emissions for the people that are going to be using it in their transport, because 11 kilometres are going to be removed from the road section, which is a huge impact overall for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah. And one-lane bridge is going to be the past. So.
Yep, and there's a one-lane bridge that's a real sticking point that we realised as well earlier. That's going. There's going to be 2 lanes now, a much bigger part of the infrastructure for a country that is growing and growing, and certainly growing its technology credentials. Cheers.